Isaac spoke to his son Esau.
And
so I'm not going to repeat them today.
But
it's not likely I would conclude the message today.
Theme no break the yoke.
The theme of the message is break the yoke. Breaking the yoke.
Last week, who said, and someone, Papa Isaac, catcher and the ba Esau.
So last week I said to you that the words Isaac spoke to his son Esau were not words of blessing. Now, when you evaluate the words he spoke carefully,
not just Esau a blessing, but rather as a curses.
It meant that Esau was pursuing a blessing, but instead of a blessing, he received curses.
But Papa Isaac was silly curse, no.
But Isaac, his father, did not seal the curse. And this was the manner in which he concluded his statement. He said, "Howbeit, Esau, my son, if you become restless and you are able to break the yoke from your neck, then you shall also be great." So when you are restless and you succeed in breaking the yoke of your brother from your neck, then you also, you will be great. So I submitted to you that if you are not careful, someone will succeed in taking from you what rightly belongs to you. And this is absolutely true. I know somebody will say, "I have faith. And because I have faith, nobody can take anything that is rightly mine from me." Somebody may also say, "Oh, I have the company of God, and so nobody can hurt me or do anything wrong to me."
But me feel say,
but I believe rather that you must be careful and you must put things right in your life. Now, the fact that you have faith that nobody can hurt you is a good thing. But demonstrate your faith by your works. Put your hands together for the Lord Jesus. Now, faith without works is dead. I have faith that no power can prevail over me. That is very good. But your faith notwithstanding, you must be careful and meticulous in your daily life. Now let's listen to what Jesus said to the devil.
Devil said, "What you say?"
The devil came saying, "It is written."
ɛsoro ha na kɔhwe fam.
Now the devil said, it is written that he shall give his angels charge over you, and they will carry you in their arms, lest your feet strikes a stone. And so the devil said to Jesus, why don't you cast yourself off this cliff onto the ground?
Na Yesu ɔwɔ gyidie paa.
Jesus had so much faith.
But Yesu hunu sɛ yɛwɔ biribi a ɛfrɛ no principles of life.
But Jesus adverted to the principles of life.
Yɛwɔ nneɛma bi wɔ hɔnom a ɛyɛ adebɔ ntotoeɛ.
There are certain things which are natural. They are principles of nature.
Nti Yesu na hunu sɛ gyidie no wɔ hɔ.
So Jesus got to know that yes, he had faith.
But nyame a ɔsoma ne ma ne ba asase so no wamfa ɛno anka ho so ɔba a ɔbrɔnsam ba ne nkyɛn na ɔchallenge na ampa onya ne ho emfiri bepɔ no so na ɔmɛhwe fam na ɔbɛma na bɔfo abɛsɔ ne nsam na no nka Yesu assignment no ho.
Now, it wasn't part of Jesus' assignment that when he comes to the earth and the devil tempts him, he should fall off the cliff and that God will give his angels charge over his life. It wasn't part of his assignment.
Ɛno nti Yesu ka kyerɛ devil sɛ,
and so Jesus answered the devil
watwerɛ bia mu sɛ
that it is also written,
ɛnsɔ Awurade Onyankopɔn hwɛ.
do not tempt the Lord your God.
Mɛmfa wo gyidie nsɔ nyame hwɛ.
Don't tempt God because you have faith.
Yɛwɔ nneɛma bi wɔ hɔnom a
There are certain things
ɛwɔ sɛ wode hyɛ wo tirim sɛ
that you must have at the back of your mind,
ɛyɛ part of life.
that these things are part of life.
Nti menka nkyerɛ me sɛ wo gyidie nti
So don't tell me because you have faith.
wɔwɔ da hɔ no akɔsɔ no mu.
You will see a snake and you will hold the snake because you have faith.
Because Paul wɔwɔ kyekyere ne nsa ho ɛso nyame protect no wantumi anka no.
Because a snake wrapped around the hand of Paul, and because God was with him, the snake could not bite him.
Assignment o nyame de ama wo. Botanti o nyame ma oba asase so. Ene Saul and Paul de no difference wo.
You see,
Paul.
Your assignment God gave you and the purpose for which you are alive is not the same as the assignment God gave Paul, and your purposes in life are not the same. You are not Paul.
Nti o nyame bi o hono mo a ɛwɔ sɛ wo mu ani da hɔ.
And so you must be vigilant in your life concerning certain things.
Ante sa wa wo beku ho abrɛ Nyankopɔn enku wo.
Or else you will die in the time when God has not requested for your life.
Ma menka asɛm wo nkyerɛ.
Let me say something to you.
Hwɛ yie na obi ansɛ wo hyɛbrɛ.
Be careful you don't allow a man to destroy your destiny.
Me say eniyama a ɛyɛ principle of life ɛyɛ adi so.
And I am urging you to obey the principles of life.
Wo nyame protection.
You have the protection of God.
But ɛno nkyerɛ sɛ o drive wo akɔ over speed.
But it does not mean when you are driving you should be over speeding.
Wo Nyankopɔn protection.
You have the protection of God.
But ɛno nkyerɛ sɛ nom poison.
But it does not mean you should go and drink poison.
Yenni nneɛma bi so because a part of life.
Let us follow certain principles because those principles are part of life.
Eniyama a ɛyɛ na ɛsesa adibo su ɛyɛ once in a while.
Now, things which defy the principles of nature occur once in a while.
Ɛno kora wo nyame hyɛ da ɛyɛ saa deɛ no for a purpose.
And even for that, God allows the defiance for a purpose.
Sɛ Joshua akasa ma awia gyina.
That Joshua spoke and the sun stood for a moment.
Etu yɛ man of God anaso agada nipa nyina wɔ sports stadium. No true challenge. I mean, me command the area me area jina. Unye Joshua.
And so
unya sa emani nye bribia and find help Nyankopɔn kingdom at that time.
And so as a man of God, it does not mean that he should gather multitudes of people at the sports stadium and say that I am a man of God and I'm also going to command the sun to stop. You are not Joshua, and in doing so, you are not going to. It is not going to promote the kingdom of God or the purposes of God for any reason.
The person may take spiritual things I say now sounds so teen nature I say.
I want you to have understanding about spiritual things as well as have understanding about nature.
Because onyankopon ono na create nature.
Because God is the creator of nature too. Somebody said Elijah commanded fire from heaven to destroy the Baal worshippers. And so I am replete with faith. And I'm throwing a challenge to all fetish priests and spiritualists in Ghana to meet me at the sports stadium, because I'm also going to conjure fire from heaven. You see, in that time, God does not need that demonstration of fire.
Because situation is see what Israel. And so
the time of Elijah, when God allowed fire to come down from heaven, it's not the same time we are living in Ghana now.
Destroy nature.
And so you must ensure that you don't destroy nature. Faith exists.
But
if you are not in good health, go and seek help from a doctor.
Now, physical treatment.
And let him treat you physically.
Because the devil
is not the cause of all manner of body weaknesses. See, there are some things which are natural. They are parts of life. And those things, when they happen, they are not caused by demons. That one which is caused by a demon, you need prayer to battle it. You need to go through deliverance. But those things which are natural,
medical doctor.
You need a medical doctor.
Now on treat you.
For him to treat you.
Or
else you will die.
Now be and
a non-entity who has no use for his life but is wise will be alive and be walking around.
Now who I can say na friend no
and when you die, you will say that, oh, God has called him or her home. God has not called you home. You lacked understanding about things in life.
Medical checkup.
Sometimes go for medical checkup.
Now when
you go for medical checkup, it doesn't make you less Christian. It doesn't make you less spiritual. When God was with the people of Israel,
because
God gave them an instruction whilst they were in the wilderness about certain herbs they could eat and others they couldn't eat, about certain kinds of meat they could eat and others they couldn't eat.
There are
some kinds of meat when you eat, it's slow in digesting. And there are other kinds of meats that if it's not well done, you don't cook it for it to become tender and soft, and you eat it, you can fall sick. So in the wilderness, when the Israelites did not have what they needed to cook things very well, God said to them, don't eat this. It doesn't make it a doctrine.
So we are not just we are unclean.
So that if you eat that meat, you are unclean. But you see, certain men have made those principles. But God gave them these instructions so that the people of Israel will not fall sick in their bodies. But we are not like the people of Israel who were in the wilderness in that time.
Leviticus chapter 11.
And so you cannot restrict my life with what is written in Leviticus chapter 11 and tell me that I should follow it.
Yesu di ni mogya ati bibia ho. Enti memo bi mu aten e wonam a wo wiye. Ana osrane foforo ana afahye.
And so Paul said that Jesus' blood has sanctified everything, so do not allow any man to judge you or condemn you about what you eat or do not eat, or about the celebration of a certain festival.
Ya wonam bi on ma on pay your time. But obi krom omonwe.
There's some kinds of meats that you don't like it, you hate it, you go elsewhere and that meat is their delicacy.
Entiano nyankopon eye bibi to preserve us.
So many times God does certain things to preserve us.
Because onyame ne creating nature.
Because God is the creator of nature.
Enti awasa also obey nature.
And so you must also be obedient to nature.
Enti hweye.
So be careful.
Ante se obi be use physical thing and ya kill abra wo too spiritual.
And so if you are not careful, somebody will use a physical thing to kill you while you are trying to be too spiritual.
Meaning powerful man of God be a na owo man.
I know of a powerful man of God who was in this nation.
Near friend Osofo Francis Akwesi Amoako.
His name was Prophet Francis Akwesi Amoako.
Meaning se no nyane dead bodies.
I know for a fact that he used to raise dead bodies.
Ne time no be anya powerful nchen no.
In his dispensation, there was no man as powerful as he was.
At
his crusades, the eyes of the blind could open, cripples will start walking. Listen carefully.
Too much.
He had so much faith. When he's ministering, he will do a special altar call for witches and say that if you are a witch or wizard and you're here, come forward, and they will run forward and he will cast out witchcraft from them. There was another story I heard of him that shocked me. And now it happened in my absence. So I am not speaking from direct knowledge, but this is an information I received from people who say that it was true.
But
now those things which I saw with my naked eyes, I can attest to them that they happened. Now what I heard was that they were delivering a fetish priest. While they were praying for the fetish priest turned into a chimpanzee. All the pastors around him ran away. But this man of God didn't care. He looked elsewhere, put his hand on the head of the chimpanzee, and continued to pray until the chimpanzee came back to a person. Now, who was powerful than that man?
It drew baby one obey nature.
But it got to a time that he did not obey nature.
Why all night upon?
So he had a night vigil, and after the vigil,
I was about Accra.
He was supposed to come to Accra for another service.
To a poor night and one said he also that.
So after the all night, he did not sleep sufficiently.
And
he sat behind the wheel.
And all driving from Takoradi to Accra.
And he was driving from Takoradi to Accra.
Now, according to eyewitness,
now according to eyewitnesses, the man was in slumber. And there were certain people who were with him in that car, and they told me the story.
Filling station, baby. Not just 1 hour or 2.
I thought it would have been okay if he had parked by a certain filling station and reclined his chair and slept at least 1 hour or 2 hours, so that at least he would not feel sleepy.
Now on drive
and he will be driving slowly. I am sure he would have arrived safely. This is nature. This is not the work of any demon. Now, if he had slept sufficiently, he would not have been involved in an accident to the extent that he died. Now, usually at first, the rumor we heard was that there was an armored vehicle full of soldiers who were chasing him, and that is what caused the accident. But eyewitnesses said that his car rather ran into the armored car. So the conclusion is that it was not the soldiers that crashed his car. So you are traveling, you go to the man of God you believe in, he prays for you. The fact that the man of God has prayed for you does not mean you should be overspeeding or driving recklessly on the road. These things are part of nature.
You're very careful.
And so you must be very careful.
Mistakes.
Or else your own mistakes will bring your life to an end. If you are not careful, a man can destroy your blessing. Now let's evaluate the story carefully.
Jacob
you see, Jacob went stealthily with trickery to the presence of his father. Because his mother told him to do so. And he also did so. And he succeeded. And he succeeded in taking the blessing preserved for Esau.
Preaching way. There are 2 dimensions.
Now, this message has 2 dimensions.
But then they may call one area.
Today, I am going to go into one dimension.
Maybe another time, so may call one area.
Another time, I may flip into another dimension. And I'll let you know that there are certain things which are orchestrated by God, and it is God who plans them to happen in certain ways. Because what does the word of God say? What did the word of God say? The younger one shall be greater than the senior one. But that is not the focus of my message today. But I want to bring you into the natural realm of things. And I am not going to be too spiritual in my message today. I'm not going to be too spiritual about my message today.
But to say normal human beings.
But we are speaking to ourselves from the perspective of natural human beings. He went to lie.
But Isaac say, Jacob.
God did not say to Isaac that the person standing before you is not Esau, but is rather Jacob, and so don't bless him. God was quiet. But when we look through the Bible, Abraham also lied.
But
what happened? God spoke to the king called Abimelech. If God warned Abimelech that if you sleep with Sarah, I will kill you.
Because I am a prophet wife.
Because she is the wife of my prophet.
And Abimelech said,
no, that is not what he said. He said this lady is his sister. And God spoke to Abimelech in his dream and said, she is not his brother, she is his wife. And so do not touch her. And Abimelech said, oh Lord,
Abraham, now
Abimelech said that, Lord, even if I had touched her, I don't think you would punish an innocent man because he lied to me. God said, whether he lied or not, I said, don't touch her.
Now, Abimelech, when
Abimelech woke up from his dream,
Abraham,
he called Abraham.
He
said, Abraham, why did you lie to me?
Abraham said, se me kasa mere no a nka oba odam yakumi no afa no tina me twantro to preserve my life.
Now Abraham said that my wife is fair to look upon, and because of her beauty, if I had told you she was my wife, you would have killed me. But to preserve my life, I needed to tell you a lie.
We nya nyame na ka chen so twantro, we nya spiritual, we nature ono ade na dwene hunu se se we ntwantro obewu ono so mpese kwasea bia bekuno.
Now this was nothing spiritual. It wasn't God that told him to tell that lie, but looking at the circumstances and the fact that death was staring in his face, he did not want to die. He did not want anybody to slay him before his time.
Enti onyame aminu mienu somo no ade a wo be judge obi se eye wrong no nyame nim the reason why nipa ne yes enti onyame in charge no se eye wrong wo hwe the real thing I cause no, but onyame hwe the reason why onyame hwe gienti na ma me ba no ana gienti na ma nipa yes ba wo dia wo hwe wa yes anti wa nya ni, but onyame be hwe gienti na ma ne yes and onyame person who the root cause.
Now, many times you will judge a person because of what he has done. You look at the outward, but God looks at the inward and the intent. So you will condemn a person because of his conduct, what he did. But God does not look at the conduct alone. God looks at the reason behind the conduct.
We share Joshua chapter 2, verse 3 to 6.
In Joshua chapter 2, verse 3 to 6.
Share. My God. Ade see ni say Joshua na asoma spies.
Joshua
spy Jericho.
Joshua sent spies to spy on Jericho.
Destroy Jericho.
To look at their strengths and weaknesses so that they will be able to destroy Jericho.
An information called palace.
So an information was sent to the palace.
Sa wo bia bahanom na ye suspect wo mo say omu ye enemy no mo ba be steady near me koso ha afye weak point no mo ba be strike ye enti king ye bibi found.
And so the information to the king was that there are certain strangers amongst us. We perceive they are enemies who are here on espionage for espionage reasons to spy on our weaknesses so that they will have military advantage over us. Be careful someone doesn't take your life.
Now, spies take information.
Now, when the spies heard that information, they took an action.
Rahab.
They went to where Rahab lived.
Now, baby, Rahab no so. Ayana memata koho.
Now, where Rahab lived was a brothel. Men usually go there to have pleasurable time with the women.
The omukoko area men can eno nya me preaching there. Bon summer Jesus.
Together for Jesus.
Osofo, dia me kan ka. Me say, the omu koye de, ana the omu koye de, ana de ye na oho de, me ka a restaurant.
Now, the reason the men went there, I will not tell. What they went there to do, I will not tell. That's not the focus of my message.
Enunti so be a bema no okọ no ma. Adwene wo obi atrimu ye baako.
And so anytime a man walks into a brothel, the intention is one. Everybody thinks the same thing.
Enti nkrofo a omo pesa spicy eku omo no. Omo adwene anko ho se spice ebe ko ba bi saa.
Now, those men who had been sent by the king to search for the spies did not think that these spies would visit a brothel. It was not God who spoke to the spies. These men were using their wits, and it worked in their advantage.
Use your common sense and work it for you.
Sometimes make use of common sense to your advantage.
Now, Rahab didn't come.
So they had a conversation with Rahab.
Now Rahab upon BBM na owo.
Now, in spite of who Rahab was, she was a compassionate woman.
Upon BBM so no osro Israel nyankopon.
And in spite of who Rahab was, she feared the God of Israel, the God of all creation. And so she decided that she would save them. And she hid them in the roof of a house. So the soldiers came there.
Rahab.
They knocked on the door. Hey, Rahab.
Yes,
we are informed that certain men have come here to you.
But information say, spice.
Now, we did not even contemplate that they were going to come here, but a whistleblower has told us that the spies we are searching for are here.
Sure. Rahab. Or say, Oma baye die, Omo baye ye na wie into Omo ko.
Now Rahab said, the reason they came here, they have finished with it and they have gone.
Fan Omo fire and or chira Omo e kwan bi direction bi.
Now they asked her, which way did they go? And she pointed to a certain direction.
Asrafo na fa ho no ma and o ma merema no so si free ayi roof no so and o chiro mo sentimo so mo mfa na se munyan kopon tamochi na mo ba o man mu na mo be defeat o man ya mo nkai me na mo ankum ya mfra o man mu enam dia ma yenti enti se mo ba me de etam kokko ebe se mi window ya no na ma hunu se Rahab the Fanta seller, the Coca-Cola seller.
Now, so after the soldiers went that direction, he said to the spies, go the opposite direction. And if your God helps you and you are able to capture this city, do not destroy me together with the rest. And so I will hang a scarlet cloth on my window so that it will distinguish me from the others.
Because I
have saved your life. One good 10 deserves another. Save mine too.
No more establish a covenant.
So she established a covenant with them. Indeed, they came to Jericho to destroy Jericho. But they saved the life of Rahab.
Any Israel for nante. And in Hebrews chapter 11,
my God,
you bought Abraham din, you bought Isaac din, you bought Jacob din, you bought David din, you bought Difo din, now you bought Rahab din.
And so Rahab associated with the people of Israel. And so in the book of Hebrews chapter 11, the name of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, David are mentioned, as well as the name of Rahab is also mentioned.
Make a fantasy and I will be only Babu. In fact, no, a prostitute.
Rahab was a prostitute.
And non say Kokoye Rahab because when you Rahab, Unquan Hebrews chapter 11, you didn't remember. But one here, destruction chapter 11, and no Dimbekum. In destruction chapter 11.
So, I am not encouraging you to do what the work Rahab was doing, because you will do it and your name will not be recorded in the book of Hebrews chapter 11, but instead destruction chapter 11 is where your name will be.
Because of time,
for the sake of time constraints,
next week
there are certain things I will say next week.
Now, Nyamisha, Dear Tenny say, Safoy nyina ometwatro.
Now, the truth is that all these personalities I've spoken about, they lied.
Was sent here who almost say, and
we should have seen them as liars.
But onyame ehwedi enti but
God was looking at the intent behind the lie.
Hwe eduru tembi na obetwantro ama wa ye delivered every owuo mu a do it.
You see, in a certain stage of your life, if you would tell a lie to be delivered from death, then do it.
Let me tell
you something.
But in fact, someone obi smart.
There are some things that we see as evil, but if you're not careful, some people would outsmart you. So let's be careful.
Sure. Jacob ejina opapa enim.
Now Jacob was standing in the presence of his father.
His
father said, "Who is this? Is it Esau, my son?"
Jacob timishe onyame enim ka kire ne papa. Anwosra ono so say. Enya uba Jacob na ka say obata ya uba Esau.
Now Jacob was bold enough, did not fear God or the anointing on his father's life, and said to his father that this is Esau and not Jacob.
Washe Esau atade ede amboa ngoma edrodro ade ho ne kwanchi because Esau na enwi won ho ede scam o papa. O papa say so ne meba Esau bra na men fiwa no. Say na papa ne pese ohwia no ho hwe. Se no ho sent no eye Esau ampa. But Jacob ne mame Becky Rebecca, you're too smart to extend say okay say ne ba no oti Esau ho sent and what ne safa na chi and o feeli Esau ho nwi and what ne safa ne nsa ho and o feeli Esau ho nwi and o say o kasa ti say Jacob but o ho sent and o ho nwi no eye Esau and ye mami nshira.
Now Isaac said that if you are Esau indeed, come and let me kiss you. His mind was to touch his body to ensure that the hair on Esau's body was there. And so Jacob planned with his mother that he will wear the garment of Esau to have the fragrance or the odor of Esau on him. And he put the skin of the lamb they slaughtered on his hand and on his back, so that the feel on his back and his hand will be like that of Esau. So when he approached his father and his father kissed him, his father was inhaling the fragrance in Esau's garment. And his father said that this is the voice of Jacob, but your body and the odor on you is the body of Esau and the odor of Esau. Now he did so to scam Isaac and take the blessing, and indeed he succeeded.
In fact, Papa Isaac odi aduane no.
So Isaac, their father, ate the food.
Na oshira Jacob abra nakumam onim se oshira Esau.
And he blessed Jacob while in his heart he knew he was blessing Esau.
Kasa ni different.
The voice was different.
And a body no. Nso so ese nipa no a odi ne ho ejina ho ama no.
But the body was like the body of the person who was to receive the blessing.
Last week
I told you
that
sometimes
I am nipa nhunu real esubi real.
I told you that do not expose certain things about you to all men.
Last week me say eduru tambia se ukoko forudia kase me kotachima.
Now sometimes I told you that sometimes If you are going to Koforidia, tell people you are going to Techiman.
Men reveal your dream.
Do not reveal your dream to everyone.
Or purpose in life,
your
plan in
your
life,
purpose in life,
vision in life,
your plan in life,
your
vision in life. You shouldn't be sharing them with all manner of people.
Because if
you are not careful,
say, me Jacob, me body should Jacob, who be lose blessings.
If you are not careful and you let people know that, oh, I am Jacob, my body is Jacob's body, you will lose your blessing.
Joseph, ni mistake ni.
This was the mistake of Joseph.
On your dream, no account.
Anytime he had a dream, he would go and tell people the dream.
Dream
Every dream he had, he shared it with his brothers and his parents.
The Bible said,
the Bible said, for that reason, his brothers hated him more.
Men reveal your secret, men reveal your vision, men reveal your dream. Emma unianum, or friends, so called. There are times
that you should not reveal your dream or your secrets to your siblings or your friends or your neighbors, so that they would not hate you more. What you plan to do, you must hide your plans.
Joseph, because of the vision, the dream,
and so they hated Joseph because of his vision and
dream. Somebody
will say, but God was with Joseph. And God even used the hatred of his brothers to break his life through.
Joseph. Ama Joseph edru ni final destination. Na busa ho say, nyame ahyehyɛ saa kwan ni bi ama sɛ saa kwan no obefa so de abeleso. Wo ye Joseph.
Now, that was the way God decided he was going to ensure that the blessing in Joseph's life and that the blessing in Joseph's life will come to pass and that he will reach his final destination. But ask yourself whether you are Joseph.
He
was put into a pit. They said they will kill him, God delivered him. He was sold out like a commodity. They wanted to kill him, God delivered him. He went to Potiphar's house. They had to kill him, but God delivered him. He went to prison. He was supposed to be killed, but God delivered him. That was the path of God for Joseph's life. Now ask yourself whether the same path is what God has given for your life. So you must recognize that you are not Joseph. And so the manner God related with Joseph, maybe that is not the way he wants to relate with you. And so don't go about sharing your dreams. You must stop talking too much.
What pretend they say? Oh, you're a good friend. Or best swallow blessings.
Or else, a witch who has pretended to be your good friend will stop your blessing.
I want to say, Jacob, we're smart.
Now, Jacob was smart.
Or the Nadaji, no, Jesus.
He took the blessing with trickery and he received it. Indeed. As I'm about to end my message, I want you to learn a lesson from this. Brethren, it is not that I am carnal,
but make a fact.
But I am speaking to the facts. It is not everything you go through that God will deliver you from. God delivers us from many things. But we self-inflict certain troubles on our lives that if you are not careful, God will not deliver you. Let me say this before I end my message. I met with a certain great man.
And I'm catching a dear much than so. mesrɛ no onya bibi emfa me.
And I said to that great man that which I have told him to do, he must do something for me.
Ɔka kyerɛ me plain say me name an amount or the bema me.
The man said to me to name any amount, he would give it to me.
And I'm a
Then I smiled.
And I'm catch up and
I said to him,
me here she a free ho.
I don't need anything from you. I don't need money from you. But what I am going to do for you in the spiritual realm, I am about to tell you what that thing and what I want to tell you, which I want you to make a promise to me, is that you will not do what abhors with the spiritual thing I was going to do for him. Be careful you don't go to a necromancer. Be careful you don't go to a fetish priest. Be careful you don't seek help from any malam or anybody, any sorcerer or fetish priest, howsoever called.
Now dear near Nyamena meso ye no. Make sure say ye no yenye.
And I said to him, what God has instructed me to tell you and what we are doing together, do it. And then I gave that man a reference that I said the same thing to another person. And that person obeyed it. And so the person succeeded in his pursuit. And I said to him that I have said the same thing which I have told you to other people who pursued what you are in pursuit of. And those that obeyed what I said to them, they all succeeded. And then the man asked me, the man said to me that I will not do what you have asked me not to do myself. And he said, what if some of the people around me do it in his name? Then I said to him, you ensure you don't do what I've told you not to do. I said to him that if somebody connected to you goes to do what I've asked you not to do, you are not God, so you wouldn't know. So God will not hold it against you. But I said to him, you yourself do not do any of these things. Then I gave him a reference.
No, interested.
So I gave a reference that there was another person I prayed for in that same manner, that some of his people came to me and said to him, give us money so we'll buy cows, so we'll perform certain rituals. The man said, no, I won't do it.
More than 5 times.
Now, you can ask Mr. Sani.
Mr. Sani, I'm a witness.
Mr. Sani is my witness. Reverend Anakwesi and Reverend Charles also are my witnesses. Because they were there with me at the time I had this conversation with that great man. Now, just about the time the event was about to take place, his people around him said something to him.
Powerful man be our Africa. Powerful.
A certain powerful man in Africa.
Oh, no dear. Just a dear be or better say you be away and one no.
They said to him that as for that man, when you go to him and he tells you to do anything and you do in accordance with what he has said, his word doesn't fail.
Convinced.
So this great man I had earlier met was convinced.
And we invite his how penny, our Bempah and buy and on Ninyankuta Hoodie and on also channel the one ye. And we any free yet the no yeah. Oh my God.
And so he invited this other so-called great person in Africa to come to him, and what the man said to him to do, he did it and neglected what the prophet of God had told him earlier to do.
na omo mo ne nam no ba ku bi wom osuro nyame pa.
Now those in the around in the circles of that man, one of them fears God so much. Obi so that person told another man to tell me that this is what this great man I had met had done. And because he is a believer of God, he noticed within himself that the action that great man had done had destroyed everything the prophet of God had done or had told him to do, because he believes God. I used to tell them two things every time. I used to tell them that
one here Jacob Ebaba Castro said we Esau. Mumma ni taniema sunsumu dia ne de enye problem ba honam mu hwe.
So I used to tell him every time, first of all, we are doing spiritual work for you, but physically you must be vigilant and careful. The one in the spirit, there is no problem with it, but the physical one, if you are not careful, Jacob will take what is rightly yours.
Unim say now,
do you know that after the competition he was involved in, this person I was talking about was first?
Establish a covenant. A breaky one me covenant. Enti now with him near anka undeserve what is coming, any evil power. Baby, oh, and a chair, baby, yan down fee, a consort, you know, Eddie Ababe Fadiano. Why, Yan, what to say, Jacob? Why, Gian Diana free Esau, Sim, Onyamitis Rudi, but Onyamia can want to me. Won't you mean Blimu, because a Yawa was swording.
Now, even though this friend of ours won the thing, by virtue of the fact that he broke the covenant he had with God through the prophets of God and sought help from another spiritualist, the whole thing got diluted and God withdrew himself. Now, another person who did not deserve to win it used scamming and evil powers, because the evil powers that person consulted had more power than this other spiritualist our friend consulted. And so that person was scamming, and with evil powers he has taken what was rightly our friend's own. So in this life, put your entire life
and at the same time
and trust in God. At the same time,
be careful.
At the same time, do not trust in any other God, and at the same time, be careful.
Divinity.
Our God, who is the God of divinity, he is a jealous God.
Establish a covenant. Now, establish a covenant.
Now, because God is a jealous God, he does not want you to come to him, have a covenant with him, and at the same time go to the devil and have a covenant with the devil. When you do so, he will spew you out of his mouth. As I'm about to end this message today, what our God hates
and say one in the establish a covenant
is to establish a covenant with him, and at the same time go to a spiritualist, a necromancer, a sorcerer, a spiritualist. Jesus hates idol worship.
And until Senka betimi ni Nyankopon covenant no watimi a obey nanka dabia woni nyame covenant no breaki a ka obey powerful na me ka kire o se na otepa dia ene wo ye powerful e be difficult say spiritual realm demon bi betimi.
So if you are going to keep the covenant you have with God intact and obey the requirements of the covenant, then I want to suggest to you that you are powerful and you are more than an overcomer. Nobody can overcome you spiritually.
Enti men reveal your dreams. Men reveal your visions.
So don't reveal your dreams. Don't reveal your visions.
Because
don't reveal these things so that you will not attract the hatred of your brothers. Maybe you may not be as lucky as Joseph. Your brothers or siblings will hate you and they may succeed in killing you.
Obi onoma afiadru awakọ ni krom a tse okwakoddi bronya afena oni abusuafo obedi nkomo say my planet me pese me project bi na say na mpese me ye abaya ketewa bi a ekuro da ne nan a wo twa mo teye odan na ni hwe okeke eno anu no wase no.
So you go to your hometown at the end of the year and you go there, you gather the family and tell your family, I want to do this project in the coming year. While you were speaking, there was a little girl passing by who just stared at you for a few seconds. That was the end of the project. You are talkative.
Keep secret.
Keep things secretly.
And
turn your talking into prayer. And be vigilant. So that no man will take your wealth.
Rebecca Sir Isaac
when Rebecca eavesdropped on the conversation between Isaac and Esau, Rebecca was eavesdropping.
Isaac kind.
And she heard Isaac saying to Esau, his son.
And Rebecca
heard the conversation.
Isaac
Isaac did not whisper into the ears of Esau, but he spoke freely.
Rebecca organizing meeting.
When Rebecca heard the conversation, she organized the meeting. You see, it isn't every ear that must hear your secret.
Next week.
I will continue, God willing.
Next week.
And I believe next week we are going to study more. You see, do not trust in men. Do not trust all men. Do not trust all men. Be vigilant. Tell your neighbor, be vigilant.
Tell your
neighbor, be careful. Your man has proposed to you. He is going to get married to you. That is not the time to broadcast it for the whole world to hear about it.
Jesus.
Put your hands together for Jesus.
And it look like too spiritual.
Now it looks like I wasn't too spiritual in my message.
But
we are speaking about the realities of life.
Next time I preach spiritual preaching.
Next time I'll put it in the spiritual realm. Please, if you are eating and there's too much salt in your food, reduce the amount of salt you put in your food. If you are giving to hard liquor and you like to drink hard liquor every time, be careful.
Put your hands
together for Jesus.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
May
God bless everyone.
Jesus.